Okay, itamo wa pinakomiop. It is April 1st and Easter and a Sunday. And because of the latter part, I'll be going out like I do every Sunday to meet with my students in the coolies pretty soon. But I thought I'd take a quick run across town here to Henderson Lake just to document the oddity of this year, of this winter. Because if you look back at my phenology and nature studies playlist to any previous Easter, any full moon after the equinox, after the spring equinox, you'll see that it's always been filled with egg gathering. And I'm usually able to get a lot of eggs out here at this time of year. But I was here 2 days ago. There was no eggs being cached yet. And I'm here this morning. I don't even see any geese. So I'm going to walk out to the island and see if there's any eggs. I really doubt that there are. But it's just more than anything just to get this documented, get it on the record, because global warming's for real, guys. Even when it's cold. That's not inconsistent with global warming, that we have weird coldnesses too. So I know that the word warming confuses a lot of people. This isn't warm. Where's your global warming, Obama? Yeah, no. Having longer winters in places, and having more intense storms in places, and having like really crappy, bad cold weather is totally consistent with the processes of global warming as we know it. Alright, so here we have a part of a goose. And we have tracks that, to me, I think they're coyote tracks. Very sure. Some goose was got. And if the coyote's been out here, which he has, that might explain why the geese are not. Especially if he killed a goose here. And he would also probably made off with any egg caches that are around, but we'll still check. Yeah, these are all goose prints here. And somebody else, a mouse or something. This is where they were digging the other day, getting ready to lay some eggs. All they've laid so far is a styrofoam block that wasn't in this little divot the other day. Aha, here we go. We have egg number 1. So the magic is happening, guys, but it's too cold, so the egg split. Look at that. It split, froze. But they are laying. Alright, so it is coming, and there's at least 1 egg on Easter morning, so I'm happy about that. Alright? That's a good sign. Even if things are pretty far thrown out of whack, I feel better. I feel like my world is at least partially in order, given that there's just at least the 1 egg, you know? It's not much, and it's not like any other year, but at least there's 1 egg. Go check the other side of the island here, where it looks like Parks have been out here with a chainsaw, making things beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, this is the problem. They choose islands like this to nest on, you know, specifically so that the predators on the ground, like coyotes, won't be able to get to them. Coyotes and myself. And with the ice as it is, and it's not going anywhere quick, I don't think, you know. I think this is still going to be iced up for at least a week. That's going to put a real damper on what happens out here with the nests. All right, so that's my check. I guess I'll go teach my students, and I'll probably bring you along with. See what's happening at Spopikimi this morning. But yeah, things are different, and yet they're a little bit the same. The egg laying has started. That egg was not here 2 days ago. So we're into the season, and it really is Easter, even if it doesn't look like it right now. So I just finished my morning walkabout with one of my students out here at Spopikimi, and as you might discern from the bit of footage that I took, we are experiencing an unprecedented event here. Never has the pond been completely iced up still come Easter morning. And as you saw at the Henderson at the lake, this is going to pose some serious challenges for the geese this year. They're ready to drop eggs now, and it's going to start, like it or not. And there's a couple of different problems here, right? One is that they don't have the protection of the islands that they need, because there's so much ice, and the coyote can just walk right up, as it did at Henderson. You saw the evidence of the deceased goose there from the raid during the night, whatever happened, and there weren't any geese there, you know, this morning. Compare that with Friday morning, a couple of days ago, when there was a bunch. There was probably 30 goose couples out in that area, hanging around kind of the island area. But I bet last night there was that coyote raid, and then they all took off. I'm sure they'll come back, but that's a big problem, not having the security, because geese are conspicuous. They're big animals. They don't hide very easy. If they don't have islands, the predators are going to be all over them. So that's a problem. The other thing that we saw that's an issue is that because of the temperatures, I mean, it's 11 degrees below zero today. Because of the temperatures, the egg caching strategy is not going to work, right? They're going to be laying their eggs, and the geese don't start incubating right away. They lay an egg, they come back a day later and lay another one. They come back a day later and lay another one. And they do this until they got a full clutch. It usually takes a goose about a week to build their egg clutch before they incubate. And while they're being just cached away, there's no warmth for them. So the egg that was laid between Friday afternoon or Friday morning and today, this morning, that egg is just broken, right? I could have taken it and eaten it. Wouldn't have done any harm to do so, but I followed a protocol, and I never take the first of anything that appears to me, right? You always let the first one pass, and then there's going to be more. But yeah, so this is a problem, because when the geese start, you know, really, when they have to start laying their eggs, which is going to be, you know, now is the time. Most of them are going to be laying eggs. It's still way too cold for that, and all those eggs are just going to get ruined by the cold. The only ones that are possibly going to survive, I think, this year are going to be the late nesters, because every year there's always some late nesters, and sometimes a goose will sit a nest for a while, then it fails, and then try to re-nest again if it's early enough in the season. So, you know, there probably will be some successful late nesters, but the other thing that the late nesters are facing is going to be the floods, right? You know, the goose strategy, again, using the little islands and stuff, those islands are going to be covered by the floodwaters, I think, because we have so much snow accumulation this year. We're going to have floods, and even the late nesters are going to have a really difficult time I think a lot of them are going to get flooded out. So I'm expecting a kind of a failed year for the geese for the most part. The ones that managed to survive this challenge are going to be few and far between, I think. But we'll see. And, you know, and this is affecting other animals as well, right? Like all the animals that rely on geese, for instance. Some of the birds that are showing up, like the ring-billed gulls, you know, that they eat a lot of on the eggs. And with the eggs having problems, I don't know if that'll... I suppose the gulls can still munch on frozen eggs. But we are having birds showing up, like, you know, the other week we had a heron. In fact, I think, what was that, a couple of weeks ago, we had the first heron show up here. And birds that are going to be coming back here that are specifically fish-eating birds, you know, they're going to have a problem, right, if we don't get out of this freeze pretty soon. But, and it's going to, I mean, we're going to be done with it soon, but for Easter morning, this is pretty unprecedented. Was nice to see out on the river some of the migrants coming back to Lethbridge. So we saw American widgeons are back. Might have seen a green-winged teal. The swans, right? I wasn't sure, wasn't close enough to really see if those were tundra or trumpeter swans, and they weren't calling, so I'm not sure which they were. But yeah, swans are back. That's nice to see. A lot of activity out here. Killdeer flew by overhead as we were walking. So the changes now are going to be rapid. Every day there's going to be change. But a lot of things that are normally happening for Easter, for the full moon after the spring equinox, are not happening. You know, there's a lot of, I would already expect certain plants to be shooting up that aren't. Like the absinthe, for instance. Wormwood. That should already have, you know, its ground basal leaves coming out. The common mullein should have its furry basal leaves coming out. You know, usually while I'm still in egg collecting mode, maybe a week or two from now, I would already be also collecting asparagus shoots. But I don't think that's going to happen in the same timeline. And if they do, you know, if the asparagus do happen to shoot out, if we get any more freeze like this, they're done, right? So a lot of the plants are going to be affected too. This is a weird and very unprecedented year as far as the duration of the freeze goes. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm going to be keeping this in mind as we move into the summer and look at all the different phenomena and try to sort out how this extended cold may or may not have affected things. We'll see.